This is my project I've been working on. Many of you don't know what this is, but some of you probably do. I've seen some folks online doing some what they call indirect percussion, and I've seen the way they were doing it, and I've mentioned to them before and that they've been placing this apparatus behind their knee. As you can see, my anatomy is not right. Either that or my seating is not sufficient, but my leg will not hold that without just turning it sideways. And then when I hit that thing, of course I've done it before, and it'll come down here and pop me on the ankle, and just everything happens. And it's actually, I believe the whole concept of the indirect percussion is the accuracy. And of course, unless you can get it stabilized, you're not benefiting from any accuracy. At least not on my leg, you're not. And I believe it was Jack Crafty, I believe it's the name he goes by. He mentioned that he believed that they were sitting low when they made their primitive issue stick, so to speak, bone tip, no doubt. But I've tried lowering my seat a little bit lower than what it is, and it's just a standard, height kitchen chair, probably maybe a little higher than what they might have been using. But I did lower it and even put my foot up on a bucket in order to try to get that to operate. But as you can see, the tip wants to go that way, and the other end wants to go back behind me. It doesn't matter what level I'm at. It pertains to that leader behind my knee. It doesn't clench 90 degrees, I guess you could say. And I've seen another gentleman had about a 3-foot issue stick or something like that. I don't know exactly how long this one is. It's about 26, 28 inches maybe. But what he did, he was a little heftier than me, and he took his spare tire right here. Of course, his was a whole lot more aired up than mine, and he put that issue stick right up here and laid his spare tire across it and give him the leverage to hit it right here. But my spare tire hadn't got enough air in it, so that won't work for me. And I've definitely been interested in it, so here's what I come up with, and I'm calling this my third leg. You folks who has a nasty mind, you're probably thinking something else, but this is my third leg. Got a platform. Bring it over here where you can see it a little bit better. It's just a 2x8, 2x6 uprights. I put these braces down here just to keep these uprights from folding and just give it more stability. One on each side, and then the 2x6s. And then what I've done with these holes right here, of course, to change height on it, I didn't know where I needed it at, so I kind of got an idea, and then I started drilling holes every 1.5 inches apart, with both of these 2x6s laying on the ground, sandwiched together. Well, when I got it all put together, lumber is not in the same variants. I don't care if you buy it new, but this has been out in, it's weathered, it's not rotten, but it's been several years in manufacture, and it's been out in a barn shed, and so nothing's going to be true about it. And in fact, they're probably warped just a little bit. So whenever I put them on these, put screws in the bottom of them, you would have thought them holes would have lined up, and they do line up well enough that I can get my bolt to go all the way through them. but but there's just enough twist in one or the other of these that the holes didn't line up perfectly straight across one from the other, which would cause this here to be untrue. If it's going to one of the other sides on account of your bolt going in at an angle, then of course your tip's not going to be where it needs to be in going straight up and down, rather than maybe at a slightly different angle in or out due to that bolt hole not being drilled straight. So what I ended up doing was having to drill me another hole right there at about the height that I wanted, and I recommend doing that after you have this assembled. And you can do that with these assembled already if you've got a drill that's got a level bulb on it. Then it'll give you a bulb when you're drilling straight and level, and just keep your eye on that and go slow, and you can go through both of them keeping that level. And it worked real well for me. Got me roughly at 90 degrees from my tool to the uprights. I put this washer on the inside on each side. It's just a screw, a little bit smaller than the pilot hole. This is a 1-inch diameter Delrin rod, so I put a 1/4-inch hole in it to receive this bolt, and then just tightened it off. And you can tighten it. I'm just got it finger tight, but you can tighten it on down. But I want it to where it'll swing. And I put this little deal in here. It's just a hard piece of, you can see, it's a hard piece of styrofoam. I reuse a lot of stuff. This is what it come out of. And I can't remember what this box come off of, but I just knew those things would come in handy sometime, because they're real rigid and stiff. You have to cut them with a hacksaw, but it's real good stuff. So I got a few of those left in case this one wears out. But what that does is it catches, if I can get this where you can see it, it catches the back end of this Delrin rod right about middle ways. And of course it's making an indentation in that, because this stuff is kind of like a real coarse memory foam. But I've noticed that I was going to try to put it on an angle like the Delrin rod would be when it come up. I was going to put it at an angle where it could hit it more flat than gouging up in it. But when I did that, this thing, when you hit it down, it bounced like a basketball. It just it'd go back and forth where it was hitting that flat and not digging into the back end of it. So that wouldn't work, because you don't want to hit this and then it come back up hitting the bottom side of your workpiece or your knuckles or whatever else is under it. But yet I didn't want this to go all the way through either. Swing out the other side, bring this end over to hit something. So that fixed the problem right there. And I've tried it out just a little bit before I turned this camera on, and this works good in that you can hold it down with your feet. This board here, as you can see, it's got a little bit of a bow to it somewhere. I think I could put me a shim under that edge right there and it'd take care of it. Because when you're sitting down, you actually don't have your full weight up over the top of it that you can hold it down. So you see, I can wobble it with my hand, but it's not created a problem. I mean, it's plenty stable enough. Good thing I like about it is I don't have to try to clench that behind my leg. I can get the workpiece wherever I want it. Actually, I mean, I can move this thing anywhere I want to. Set it at any angle I want to. Even if I wanted to work at this angle, I could work at this angle. Of course, you know, it probably would never be practical to work at that angle, but if I wanted to, I could. But having it where that, you know, you typically need it, which is like 90 degrees from where you're sitting at, roughly, then you place your foot back here against that, and when this thing goes down, you have no fear of it hitting your leg, your knee, your ankle, or anything. It doesn't go down hardly to the ankle. And furthermore, you see I'm 4 inches away from it. But still, yet plenty close enough to my workpiece. So I thought I would just show that because there's a couple of others that I've talked to that said that they too was interested in it. And I've thrown it around in my brain for a while and trying to figure out how I could experiment basically and make something that would be functional to where I could in turn use some indirect, which again is for the sole purpose basically for being accurate. You can place it right where you need to on your platforms and things like that. And it's not percussion work. I mean, I realize that, but it does provide when you get down to a pretty regular biphase. It does much more than pressure flaking as far as driving flakes. It's a medium, basically, between what I can gather. It's a medium between percussion and pressure flaking. And I've noticed that Freeze Crack uses this a whole lot. In fact, he was probably one of the first ones. He and Jack Crafty both were the two that I've seen using it, and I thought that's interesting. But they were both using it hinged behind their leg, and more power to them. My anatomy is just not, I just don't have the anatomy for that for whatever reason. I'm bony, or I guess, or something. But can't be no more bony than old Freeze Crack, and he won't mind me saying that. He talk about himself, so I figure I can talk about it. But anyway, yeah, he can hold it behind his leg, and I don't know what the difference is. Neither here nor there. I've got me a third leg, and I can change this out easily. I can refashion the bit by raising this up. I can file it there, or I can in fact take it out if I want to and dress the bit on it. But I might try to turn that camera on. I've took a few flakes with it just to see what I thought it was going to do, and I was impressed. I say impressed. I'm not impressed right away with anything. I enjoy watching them and see a lot of good demos on what to do, how to do, and when to do. But there's nothing like personal experience. And so I'm going to tinker with it. I was able to take this piece before I got on camera, and you see I had Cortex on this side right here, and it was pretty humped up. And I kept chiseling at it with the indirect, and finally got a bite on it and took out that big piece right there, which done a considerable amount of thinning right in that area, and got rid of that bigger portion of that Cortex. And that I don't think now it would be much trouble to get rid of the rest of it, or even if I left it, I can shape it up and it's not bubulous and really annoying. I might tinker with this one in a few minutes, put the camera on a tripod and see what I can do with it, just to show you a demonstration of how that you can take flakes off, and they'll hopefully get one to run pretty far. You can see these pressure flakes that I put on this. It didn't go over 1/4 of an inch in from either direction. And that's what I find more times than not, is that I just can't get them. I mean, from the tip down about an inch, yeah, you can get them to meet. You get them down here in the broad area of a point, and you do good if you get them to go halfway. Very rarely do I ever get them to go halfway. But I think with this, there would be a potential to do that, given practice. So anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. I just want to show you what I've been experimenting with, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. May get back with you in a minute and show you a few strikes on this piece.